Savage Dragon 78 from August of 2000. The third issue of the bold new direction into this savage world. Magenta doing the heavy lifting on this cover. We got a hot pink logo and a text box. Mind slaves of the brainchild. So let's see what the hell's going on here. This will be the last time that we see this huge blank white space on the inside cover. By next issue, we'll have this dragon drawing filling the void. And actually, it's a blown up copy of the little dragon on the upper left cover. And I believe that was a fan suggestion to use that, so pretty good. Let's see, that just leaves Most Peculiar Mama, Josh Eckhorn, which is another reference to a Beatles lyric. That's at least the second one by my count. Anyway, so on to the story. Mind Slaves of the Brainchild. Last we left off in issue 77. Dragon has a $25 million bounty on his head, and it appears that someone is trying to collect. Credits before we go: Eric Larson, story and art; Chris Eliopoulos, letters; Ruben Rude and Abel Motown, colors. So hold your breath for this page turn. What in the wide world of Kirby are we looking at here? Just an incredible double-page spread with the most Kirby crackling infused weapons with this warp-driving spaceship I've ever seen. Larson totally outdid himself here with the execution and the design of this warship. And when Fanatics write in about this issue, almost every single one mentions this double-page image. And they say that Larson's art looks tighter recently, and they like it. And Larson reveals a secret that explains it. So it's the new panel borders that are doing this. So Larson says that he's drawing bigger and using the entire page to draw. So how do I explain this? Let's look at the double-page spread here, two of them. So on this full bleed double-page splash, Larson would have to draw on a sheet of paper, knowing that the edges of the image will never be seen because they're cut off in the production process to create the full bleed image. Now, however, Larson can draw all the way to the edge of the paper, knowing that 100% of his artwork will be visible because it's reduced and then printed within this panel border. So he's drawing larger, and the image is at a higher reduction percentage, so his art looks tighter, so to speak. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, incredible page. This is stunning. Once again, sticking to the retro vibe, we get the 6-panel structure here, these retro sound effects, and the thought balloons, just nonstop action. So Dragon is attacked by this ship. He does a backflip onto the top of it. Then he punches through the hull to encounter a ship full of robots ready to destroy him. And then he finds out that the captain of this vessel is Cyberface, his old nemesis. And once he knows that Dragon is on board, he sets the ship to self-destruct. I love the look in Dragon's eyes as he's trying to escape, which he does just in time before a huge explosion. I think Larson wanted to destroy that ship so he wouldn't have to draw that ever again. Let's take another look at that sucker. But yeah, the ship explodes. So Dragon is sent violently crashing back to the surface, to which he says, ouch. That's about all he says in this thing, man. He doesn't talk a lot in this issue. Once again, the thought balloons are doing the heavy lifting in the story. But it makes sense. You know, Dragon is trying to make sense of this himself. He's trying to figure shit out simultaneously as the reader. And so we're still on day one of this adventure. And so Dragon is tired and hungry, and he checks out this abandoned grocery store. Doesn't find any food, but he does find a corpse. So a couple of Easter eggs here. First, the grocery store is called Kirby's, and the corpse is called Terry Fitzgerald. So if you're unfamiliar, Terry Fitzgerald is a character from Spawn. Just a little tie-in to the larger Image universe. So no food, but Dragon does end up finding a place to sleep in this basement. To which he says, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." We've got a lot of Marvel references recently. So while Dragon sleeps, he's the victim of an attack by these fucking disgusting worms. God damn, that is gross. Into his mouth and his eyes. Just awful. So these worms trigger some kind of dream sequence, and Dragon is reunited with Jennifer and Angel, and he's overcome with emotion. And Dragon cries a solitary tear there. Pretty rare. But it's all baloney. Dragon is famously resistant to mind control bullshit. He also has famously strong teeth, and he's hungry. So he bites that fucking worm and starts blindly beating the shit out of every slippery, creepy thing he can get his hands on. But they are just pawns for the brainchild. And so the true villain of this issue, he sends these stone men to overwhelm the blind dragon, but it doesn't work. The dragon is too strong. So then there's this energy golem and these enslaved women. Just a bizarre ending here. As Brainchild destroys the building, bringing the rubble down on top of himself. Though we will see him again in issue 116. The Brainchild's back there, yeah. So I'm not sure how we get to see him again, but he will return. But for now, Dragon has escaped along with a handful of women. So this will be interesting. But for now, Dragon says the nightmare has ended, and we have the attack of the 60-foot woman to look forward to. On to Fanatics. Issue 75 reaction still coming in alongside letters for reaction to issue 76. So this gives Olaf Beamer a chance to get 2 letters printed in the same issue. I think he actually bookends the whole thing. 2 letters by Olaf there. But anyway, pretty overwhelmingly positive reaction to the new direction and the style. You know, all the retro stuff I mentioned in the videos are mentioned in these letters. People just kind of having fun with that. Lots of familiar names. Next, we got Dragonbert and Brainbert. This one has the Peanuts spoof with Lucy getting her head kicked off. We also got Megaton Man here with Torpedo Tits and Yarn Man. It turns out this Yarn Man is actually based off of a real-life hippie dude who was like a local legend in Don Simpson's hometown, Ann Arbor, Michigan. And he passed away a few years ago. That just leaves Desperate Times by Chris Eliopoulos. This is a spotlight on the character Kennedy, where he's getting wasted, passing out off of bar stools, passing out in the bathrooms, drunkenly hitting on women. Probably the most relatable character in the book. The back cover is doing my job for me. Advertising next issue, number 79. Happy Father's Day. Adios.